What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 11 Monday Night Football Showdown breakdown here on Sharp Sports Network. I'm your host, Joe Beaver, and I'm going to be breaking down this interesting game between the Chargers and the Chiefs here on Monday Night Football. It is a primetime game that features an over-under of 53.5 points, with the Chiefs favored about 5.5. This game is played in Mexico City, so there really is no home team for this game. I expect there's probably more Chargers fans than there is Chiefs, but I'm ready to get into this. This game is going to be interesting, to say the least. The pricing over here is just absolutely crazy. You're going to have to really pick and choose who you like on this slate, where you want to target. So yeah, I'm going to give you a few of my favorite plays, go over a few builds that are potential for cash and GPP, and then I'll leave the rest of the sneaky plays for my members. So, Patrick Mahomes at the top, 12K. It's kind of stupid to fade Patrick Mahomes in cash games. It's also kind of stupid to fade Phillip Rivers as well at a 3,000 savings for the most part off of Patrick Mahomes here. 53.5 implied total. It seems that both teams are going to have to air the ball out a lot and really get to their respective receivers. So it makes a lot of sense to get both of those quarterbacks in. I think both of them are in play. I think both of their star receivers are in play. Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen, I think both of them are in play. Last time these teams met, Tyreek Hill went for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen went for 108 yards and a touchdown. Melvin Gordon had a touchdown. So I think it's just really going to be how you construct the lineup. But I think a good place to start is actually captaining Tyreek Hill. We know he has huge big play upside. There's no way around it here. I think he's pretty much a plug and play here in this game. Last week, 19 targets against Tennessee, went for 157 yards and a touchdown. He's just all over the field. I know a lot of people are going to be very cautious of him because of Casey Hayward, as both teams actually do have a pretty solid top 10 pass defense. So both of these quarterbacks are definitely going to have a challenge, but Mahomes seems to be pretty much matchup proof. So like I said, a lot of people are going to be off Tyreek Hill because of Casey Hayward. But Casey Hayward isn't a shadowed cornerback, and Tyreek Hill switches from the slot to the outside. Casey Hayward plays on the left side of the field. Tyreek Hill, I'm sure, will play a majority of his time on the right side of the field and let Demarcus Robinson and Sammy Watkins deal with Casey Hayward. Now, I don't think that Tyreek Hill is somebody that you should fade, and I don't think Mahomes is somebody you should fade. But my lock and load play pretty much for today is Melvin Gordon. I think that they really want to establish the run. He's received 42 touches over carrying the ball over the past 2 games. So I really think this is a smash spot going up as a team that gives up the second most points to running backs. I think this is a great spot for Melvin Gordon. I really like Melvin Gordon here today. I do have a very, very huge amount of interest in Keenan Allen. He's really tough to fit in with this build, but it makes a little bit of sense to try and get Keenan Allen in just because of what he's been doing against Kansas City in the past. He's been receiving 3 games out of the past 4 with double-digit targets. So I really like Keenan Allen here today. I think he has huge big play upside playing in the slot. Slot corner for Kansas City is injured, so backup slot corner is going to be playing against Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen should feast on Kansas City. Their secondary isn't the best. The reason they've been losing all these close games is because they just can't hold. Their secondary can't hold the run. They can't hold the pass too well. The offense is scoring so quick and not giving enough time for the defense to really be able to stop any of these opposing teams. Same thing happened in Tennessee last week. So I think that Melvin Gordon is an absolute lock for the most part here. Derrick Henry showed last week pretty much the template to beating the Chiefs. Pummel the ball, just push it through. Melvin Gordon should have an absolute bell cow amount of targets this week in both the running and the passing game as well. On the side of Kansas City, Damian Williams, he's going to play, just has some personal issues, questionability there. He's going to play. We saw him get a season high 19 targets last week, 19 rushing attempts last week. I really like Damian Williams here today. Neither team is good against the run. Damian Williams has flashes upside in the passing game as well. I think this is definitely something that they're going to want to use Damian Williams for today's pass catching ability. Now, on the side of the Chiefs, the defense is actually a 5th ranked in the league in sacks so far this year. Chargers are going to be without 2 of their offensive linemen, making it a little bit interesting on Phillip Rivers here today. The only reason I'm a little wary on him is because we saw last week against the Raiders, Oakland just took him to work. Phillip Rivers got sacked more times than not through 3 picks, couldn't find anybody. Still managed to get about 200-something yards and a touchdown, but it was not a good performance. So for me, if I had to pick one, I'd probably leave Mahomes. For me, I just think that it's way better, safer floor. It's tough for me to get. You won't be able to get Phillip Rivers in here in this lineup. So for me, I think that it's going to be a kicker day. I think there's going to be a lot of kickers involved. I think you're going to have to play them. There's no way around it. Harrison Butker is definitely my favorite kicker out of both. If you just look out of all the games, there's been one game this year where he hasn't attempted 2 field goals. There's only been one game where against Oakland, he didn't attempt any field goals. So for me, I think that this is definitely just a plug and play for me. Harrison Butker makes a lot of sense today. I think he's like one of the top plays at his price at $4K. And one thing I do want to talk about here is Andre Patton. Last week he played 80% of the snaps, only received 4 targets, but at $200 in this offense, one of the catches he should have made last week, and the other one was a terrible throw from Phillip Rivers, and the other 2 were just, poorly run routes, whatever it may be. But 4 targets, potential, all he needs is 2 catches, and you're at value, and you're happy with what he's getting you. If you put him in this spot, you're able to actually get up to somebody like Travis Kelce in this lineup. You would be able to play Phillip Rivers. You'd be able to play Keenan Allen. You'd be able to play a hefty amount of people. So Andre Patton makes the lineup building process a little easier, but he is very tough to play because it's very uncertain. If he gets you 0, you have to be okay with him getting you 0. So for me, my favorite cash game captain is probably going to be Tyreek Hill. The other way I'm going to go at captain in cash games is with Harrison Butker at captain. With the amount of points Harrison Butker's been putting up, he's been putting up running back numbers as a kicker. 16, 18, 12, 11, 10. He's had multiple double-digit performances throughout the past 7 games. He's had 5 double-digit performances. I think Harrison Butker has to be in every lineup that Patrick Mahomes is in. Quarterbacks correlate very well with the kickers. Anytime they score, Harrison Butker scores. It makes a ton of sense. You're able to get these 3 guys. You're able to also get Keenan Allen and then drop down and get somebody like Demarcus Robinson. You can play the other kicker. You're able to get Keenan Allen, Gordon, Tyreek Hill, Pat Mahomes, both kickers. Bagley definitely had quite an interesting week last week. Made some field goals against Oakland, made 5 against Green Bay. I think this is definitely a time to play Michael Bagley. He makes a lot of sense as well. As kickers are just going to be vital for this lineup building process. But Harrison Butker at captain actually makes a lot of sense for me. Now, for the contrarian captain pick, a little more GPP sided, I'm probably going to lead Melvin Gordon in captain. I'm probably going to lead with Melvin Gordon in captain, and I'm going to assume that the Chargers Melvin Gordon's going to be the top scorer. I'm going to assume that that's going to happen. I'm going to plug in Sammy Watkins. I'm going to plug in everybody that I can, and I'm going to plug in pretty much, I'm just going to run it with Kansas City. I want all of their pass catchers, and I just want the Los Angeles Chargers running back. That's pretty much what I want. I want to build a bring back group. I think Melvin Gordon's going to be the highest used player on that slate. I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, the only other way I see this going is if you are fully okay with fading Pat Mahomes, which I don't recommend, but for the sake of GPP purposes, you can fade Pat Mahomes, and you can play Phillip Rivers, Keenan Allen. You can bring it with Hunter Henry. You can play the kicker, and then you can play Austin Eckler, Sammy Watkins, Damian Williams. You can say that they're going to play, Kansas City's going to play a lot on the ground, and they're going to kick field goals. Defense is going to dominate them. This is a group that wins you those tournaments. Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers, Gordon, and Henry. You're capturing everything on the Chargers-wise. We know that both teams are going to have to throw the ball. Last time Phillip Rivers played the Chiefs, he threw 52 times for 3 touchdowns and 424 yards. Pat Mahomes threw for 254 yards and 4 touchdowns last time they played. Both similar performances. The reason that I say this is Pat Mahomes is $12,000, Phillip Rivers is $8,800. For Pat Mahomes to pay off that salary, he needs 30 fantasy points. He needs the same performance he had last week, and he needs Phillip Rivers to do nothing. He needs Phillip Rivers to have the same performance. If Phillip Rivers has 25 fantasy points or more, Pat Mahomes is a bad play. I'm not going to steer anybody off Pat Mahomes because I'm going to be playing Pat Mahomes, but that is just something to look for tournaments. For cash games, I would play either one or both. If you're going to play one, it's got to be Pat Mahomes. Now, on FanDuel, it is very tough over here for lineup building process. Tyreek Hill, Melvin Gordon are jacked on the price. I don't like FanDuel over here because this is how you have to start your lineup, because full PPR is not what it is over here on FanDuel. Tyreek Hill doesn't receive a point per reception. It's very, very touchdown based. So that makes me really want to play somebody like Keenan Allen, whose price is absolutely abysmal at 10.5K. I think he's a joke. I think Travis Kelce has touchdown upside, and I think Demarcus Robinson has touchdown upside as well. I think that this could be, a potential lineup for you where you're really capturing everything that you would want to caption, but I think that Patrick Mahomes makes the most sense at captain over here on FanDuel. He makes the most sense in all the lineups today, cash game and GPP. He's viable for both. We know the upside that he has. Came back off that injury, threw for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Tennessee. Aired it out 50 times. Tyreek Hill benefited. Kelce benefited. But I think that the sneaky value play today is probably going to be Sammy Watkins. You're going to have to really try and plug him into your lineup. He's pretty easy to plug in a lineup over here at 6K. There's not real value in any of these positions, really. So I think that Sammy Watkins is a nice value. I don't want to play Eckler at all, but I think you need to really focus on the kickers today. It's going to be very important. I think that Harrison Butker at captain makes a lot of sense. I think he can definitely get you there. He needs 10 fantasy, and that's not tough for somebody who's been taking on average 4 field goals a game with a potential of 4 extra points per game. So with that being said, that's pretty much what my core is going to be. I think you need to lock in Melvin Gordon and Tyreek Hill. I think both of them are pretty much plug and plays on both sides. I think you should try and, at least on DraftKings, you should try and play Tyreek Hill and Melvin Gordon. And Harrison Butker as well, I think, is a very solid play. Mahomes as well. On the side of the Chargers, I think it would have to be Melvin Gordon, my favorite play, then Keenan Allen, then Phillip Rivers, and then Hunter Henry. On the side of Kansas City, it's got to be Tyreek Hill, Mahomes, then probably Kelce, Sammy Watkins, and Butker. But yeah, good luck to everybody today. Hope you all enjoyed that. If you're a member, stay active in the Discord. I'm going to be live streaming later on today for you guys, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for the first look video looking at Week 12. Peace.